This is Tilia Cordata, small leaf lime. It has some serious issues. Last year I found out that apex was dying due to some problem, I didn't know what. I asked on a fora. Jelle gave me advice that most probably it's borer and I should try to destroy the borer with alcohol. And I did that. I cut part of the apex section, found a hole which was drilled by some kind of bug. I poured the alcohol into the hole and I was waiting if the worm will come up. It actually came out and I caught it and killed that. Unfortunately, doing so didn't prevent further dieback of apex section. So what I'm going to do today, I'm going to remove all the dry apex section. You can see the tree has tremendous amount of leaves. It has good reason for that. I left it without any kind of cutback since the spring because I'm seriously considering ground layering the roots on this tree. I have everything ready. I just need to look carefully if it's a viable option or not. Otherwise, the tree seems to be extremely healthy if we are not looking on that apex, which is very serious issue. This kind of issue, you need to regrow everything. It will take another maybe 5 years or so. Most probably you will see it for a long time. But anyway, I would like to save the tree. So you can see, this is the inner part. Here was the apex section, which was cut off. It's now sealed. But unfortunately, the borer which was there, the hole which was drilled there by the borer, most probably was so big that it actually ate big part of living tissue, which was feeding this apex part. So, you know, emotions aside, it all needs to go. Fortunately, as you can see, there is a lot of small growth originating from those parts, which can be used. These are tiny branches, but they will grow and they can substitute what is missing. You see, this is the hole after the borer, yeah? So it was drilling everything. I will go and look at the roots. If I can live with that, I was like 100% sure I'm going to do that. But when I brought the tree here into the workshop, I was a little bit hesitant. So I need to give it some serious thought. Fortunately, Tilia has very soft wood, so you can cut it with the pliers. I'm just checking in every cut where are the holes after the borer. So you can see how he drilled this hole and this hole. So it killed all these, and most probably lower here, it's also everything is drilled, so it's killed. What is my concern, if there is a possibility that there is a second bug, worm, still living inside the living part of a trunk. I'm afraid that this could be a possibility. You can see how he drilled it. I saw the hole after the borer and I was hoping that tree will grow strongly and it will somehow fill the holes with the sap. It didn't happen and the apex died. So I keep cutting away the dead parts. I'm waiting when I see the live wood. This is alive. So this white part of wood is alive. This is also alive. What bothers me is this hole. I don't want to destroy those young shoots, so I better do it in another way. If I leave it like this, it will be very complicated to heal this wound. It would heal on linden, most probable. The best way is to cut all this part. Of course, I will jeopardize those 3 shoots which are growing from bottom. You can see clearly difference between the life at that part of the wood. These brown parts are dead, caused by the borer. The white ones, the bright ones, are live parts. I seal the wound. It's much better with wet hands. The hole there is already really deep, so I just try to open the callus, so in case the tree decides to heal over this wound, it will have a fresh callus to work with. Then a little bit of water. When I started to prepare for today, I was absolutely sure I'm going to air layer it, but then I look at it and I wasn't so sure. This root from here. So overall, it's not really good Nebari. It's a result of growing the tree in the field for many years. And if you do that and you are not digging the tree out every year or every 2 years and reshaping the Nebari, then this is what you will get. Growing in the ground has a lot of advantages, speaking about volume and a sheer volume of the mass which tree can produce. But if you are not really carefully working on Nebari along the way, then this is what you will get, and it's not really good. It's wide, but not really good. Those 2 roots crossed each other and grew really massively. So where I can layer it, somewhere like this. If I'm talking about the problem, you can see that also here was a big root, which was most probably grow like this, and down it was cut off, but it wasn't carved. And you see it's a bulge here, so it's creating really unsightly place in the Nebari. And sometimes this is the best solution, because you can start over. You can have even tiny roots all over, and you can start anew. So maybe when I will go like this, I will incorporate it here. There is also one possibility: keep this root and do it like this, and air layer it in this angle, and then the tree will fall even more into this side. So this will be most probably top. So I went around, everything seems to be more or less clean. I'm going to apply the hormone here. What I don't want are roots which will grow down, and it will jeopardize whole operation. So I put a little bit of fabric here, almost probably 2 layers, prevent those roots from growing down. merge with original root ball, which will make separation very complicated. It's not my idea. I've seen the guy doing that. Most probably it will be sufficient in 2 layers, and still the watering will be possible. So I still have to water the plant for another 4 to 6 weeks. I bought the cheapest and the biggest basket for pond plants, and I cut it in 3 pieces. I will use it for a different project. This actually may be too shallow. I will pile everything a little bit higher here, so it will be most probably sufficient. I will put few wires here which will merge it together. One thing I know for sure, the separation in this arrangement will be really complicated. Now I apply the rooting hormone on the wound. So it's done. Now I just need to water it, and I need to cover it from the top so the birds will not take the moss out. It must be protected for next, hopefully only 6 weeks, but sometimes it takes much longer, unfortunately, with some species, but hopefully with linden, with Tilia, it will be much faster. It goes out, it will be covered, and we will see how the tree will respond in a few weeks. All the foliage which remained here is on purpose, and the more foliage, the more energy, the more sugars, most probably the faster creation of roots. We will see how it will help it. I left the tree unrestricted to have as much foliage as possible, so it will have enough food to create new roots. As you can see, maybe in a detail on this camera, the roots are already picking from below the part of the basket. What I'm going to do now is that I'm going to remove big part of foliage so I can access a little bit better this part, to take it out apart, look closely on the roots, make access for a saw, and then separate the trunk and plant the new plant into the prepared pot. As you can see on the older footage, the tree was almost in some kind of finished stage when I discovered the borer problem, and the whole apex section had to be removed due to strong dieback, so big part of the upper part of a crown died, and now the tree needs to be completely rebuilt, or at least top of the tree needs to be rebuilt. So it's work for next few years. Definitely any minor job. It's really major restoration of a tree. Hopefully the tree will look well after new parts of apex sections will be regrown. New set of roots were necessary, in my opinion. I was checking the possibility if linden is able to air layer or not. I found the source where the guy did exactly the same, so I thought to myself, I'm going to give it a shot. We are in the point where we will see how good the initial set of roots from air layering will be, how much work it will require in the next few repotting sessions, and maybe it will be new start for this tree. The tree was looking really well for a long period of time during the summer. In the last few weeks it started to suffer. The Tilias sometimes do that their foliage at the end of the growing season is not really nice anymore, but I a little bit suspect that the new set of roots which are there is most probably supplying the water, but maybe it's struggling to supply enough of minerals and other supplements to the tree. So I decided that it's time to separate, and when I will cut back this tree like this, I may hope for some small flush of growth during the August and September. The tree will have a time to establish itself in a new pot before the winter. So this is my thinking. We're getting there. Unfortunately, the foliage is starting to look really bad. I hope that there is already the fertilizer in the mixture into which the separated layer will go, and I hope it will help restart the tree in the next few weeks, so it will regain some energy. It looks like roots are strong enough. So as you can see, when I was finishing the layering job, I said that I have to put something on the top of the mass of new substrate mixed with moss, and I used these really large zeolite stones which are really heavy, but if they are sprayed with water, they keep a lot of water and some moisture, so they are preventing the birds from going really into the substrate, digging and damaging the new fragile roots. So let's put those stones away. So this is part of old basket. Now let's look what is here. You can see roots. Also here on this side, not so much here, not so much root on this side. So the Nebari will be not even, which is initially bad news. So no roots here, much more roots on this side. It will be very complicated separation. I knew that. Not yet. Not yet. Looks like we are out. So now the tree is separated. This is good news. The bad news is that one side doesn't have roots at all, unfortunately. The question is if it's enough roots to support the layer. I don't know. Now even wind is blowing, which is not really beneficial. It's making my work more complicated, and in this hot weather it's excessively drying out the roots very quickly, so I need to work even faster. Fortunately, my new pot is ready. I have prepared the board to which I'm going to screw the tree. It will also help a little bit in stabilizing it in the new position. But in the meantime, I'm trying to take out some part of moss, so not to keep too much of moss there, because it will be way too wet in certain sections of a root ball. I think it could create some problems in the future. So this is how it looks like. Unfortunately, there is one big root from the old Nebari, so I'm going to cut it with big pruners. I can either do it now or fight with it later when it will be even more obscured by a lot of new roots. So I'm opting for doing it now. Okay, so at least I have a little bit more stability now when it's screwed on this. I damaged some roots, so I cannot do it other way. I'm going to take a new pot with prepared drainage layer. I have holes here, prepared holes here for fixing the board. It's safely there. Tighten the wires carefully, not to mess too much with the roots. It's not too much of them. This side have no roots, so I'm going to scratch it. So I renew the callus here at this section where are no roots, and I'm going to apply a little bit of root hormone in gel form. So on those places where the roots are not present or sufficient, maybe it will help. Now post separation the tree will try to rebalance itself again and try to find the resources to survive, and maybe it will help. This is done. There is still a lot of moss here, This is the biggest part of functional roots, and I don't want to mess with them too much, so I'm keeping this patch of moss here. I have prepared substrate, pure pumice with a little bit of bark and Osmocote. Shake it too much or poke with a stick. What I'm going to do, I'm going to fix the upper part of the tree to the pot. Finished already, but I have prepared sphagnum moss, which I used for air layers, and I'm going to put it on top because we are going to experience quite a hot weather in next couple of days. It will be much better in 2-3 weeks time, I think, but now it's really hot. So I just put this sphagnum moss on top. Maybe also the hormones which are in the sphagnum moss will help in some way in creation of new roots. I don't know. In case there are some kind of hormones, it could be definitely beneficial for tree in this stage post separation. And since birds would go into this, I put a little bit of chopped bark on top. Now it's finished. After 1 hour of work, the tree will go into complete shade. No sun for next 4 weeks. I will see how it will behave. In case it will go downhill and everything will be bad, then okay. And this is its destiny, but I hope it will be okay. Most probably after a really hard cutback, some new growth may start to appear. It will be a signal that roots are growing really well. Of course, I can go a little bit inside into the roots in next maybe 2-3 weeks and check, especially at this back side where a hormone stimulator. Maybe it will be okay. The board will prevent the new roots grow down into the pot, and they will go in horizontal direction. Most probably, in case everything will go well, they will occupy the whole pot in the next 2 seasons. So most probably it will stay like this until spring 2027, and until then I can only hope that some growth which will appear here will start to fill this place, which will create the missing apex of a tree. Other than that, just hoping everything will be fine.